Welcome back to What Arty Noobs, and we're continuing our coronavirus special. We've got a KV-2 with 2 marks on the barrel on the northeast spawn of Province, and this one is under the commands of Atrium. Okay, game's underway. Now the KV-2 is the tier 6 Soviet heavy tank with a 152mm howitzer as its main armament, and he's loaded 26 rounds of standard HE and 10 premium rounds as well of armor piercing, and those can be quite interesting when you get a thin skinned vehicle. The HE rounds will do 910 alpha if they can penetrate a target, and he's aiming down range at the moment, down the valley. Got a rather eager teammate there taking shots at the enemy area. I think he's going for that set of bushes. There's normally a tank destroyer in there or two. Enemy tank's been seen crossing. That's an ARL-44 and an M6. It's a tier 6 game, so he's top tier. I wonder if he's going to try a quick shot in that direction. Oh, he's right on the edge there of that balcony. Trying to get shots, but that ARL's pulled back. Well, he's decided to push forward on the balcony, and there's a meaty target there, a T-34-85M, but instead he fires at that T-52, and now he's going to have to try and pull back and pull round that Striv M42-57 and his 75mm gun, who was obviously trying to get shots on that T-34-85. Probably would have been easier for him to actually fire at the T-34-85. Okay, doesn't appear to be anybody behind those bushes, but well, he's just fired and hit that building. And oh look, there was a number of enemy vehicles behind those bushes over there. Not the same ones that he was firing at earlier, but the Nashorn has now been killed by a G2. But you can see there's a T-34-85 over there still, and I think he's going to give it a go this time. And it hits the building again. So he's not having much luck at long range. There's 3 Arty on the enemy team, so they're probably in the back there, and he's firing in that direction. Obviously, because he wasn't actually specifically aimed at an enemy target, it just went to the maximum range, and well, we can see other Arty are firing in that direction, or the members of Arty of our team are firing in that direction. You can see their shells arcing in that way, so they might have spotted somebody in the back there. There's the enemy KV-2, and he's taking damage from our teammates. If he backs up far enough, we might be able to get a shot at him. More than likely he won't though, because I think he's gone into that corner, and our T-52's managed to make it past him, and now he's proxy spotted that Type 64 over on the lower level. He managed to sneak down there without us seeing him, and the T-52 has just been taken out by their Cromwells. So one shot should be enough to take out that Type 64, because he's only got a few hit points left. In fact, a near miss should be able to take him out. There's the Arty having a go. Oh, for a brief moment he came into view, but he has to move from that position, and that means that they can hit him. I think Arty's going to give it a go. And no, they didn't get him. In fact, we're not doing rather well at the moment, because the enemy team seems to be knocking our guys out. We've only got 8 team members left. The enemy team still has 12. And they've got an ARL-44 coming up onto this level. He obviously came up by the lower level, and he's just around that corner. And there's a poodle. And now our T-34 is in the way. But we did take out that ARL, but because of that T-34 came around that corner, I'm afraid Atrium took rounds that he didn't need to take from the poodle. So he's been hit twice by the poodle, once by the ARL V39, and now he's actually low on hit points, going for the M6. Yes, gets him. 2 kills. Poodle's going to have a go now, so he's going to have to reverse side scrape in order to get shots on this guy. Or either that, or he's going to have to turn around, and the Cromwell's trying to get behind him. They are in terrible trouble. Now there's only 3 left on their team. Cromwell's about to come around that corner. He's looking at the Poodle. Takes the Poodle out, but the Cromwell's now behind him, firing into his tracks. And he's lucky that the Cromwell hasn't been able to penetrate him so far. In fact, he's now trying to side scrape on this church. Goes for the Hellcat. Takes a round in the tracks, but he's loaded and takes the Hellcat out. But now it's 20 seconds for the reload, and the Cromwell's going to hit him repeatedly. Except, of course, the Cromwell keeps hitting the tracks. This guy doesn't seem to know how to drive his Cromwell. Either that or he's got the stock gun. I think he's got the stock gun. It looks like he's got the stock gun. Instead, Atrium is going for the KV-2 across the valley. And he gets him. So this little Cromwell here, with a stock gun, is just being a nuisance, but he can't actually kill Atrium. He appears to be incapable of doing it. And Atrium's going to get rid of him any second. That's it. He's loaded. Oh, now just needs to get one shot in. And that's it. So that's now a top gun for Atrium. And he's cleared up a large number of the enemy tanks on this side. In fact, now the enemy team only has an ARL V39 and 3 Arty against Atrium and his teammate in a Chi-2. Now the Chi-2's over on the other side of the battlefield, and it looks like that ARL V39 is moving up to engage him. We can't see him at the moment because I think he's gone over to that corner and he's sitting behind that house. The Chi-2 should be able to see him. There's the ARL, he's moving. Oh my god, he's getting very close and he takes out the Chi-2. So now he's all alone. Atrium is alone against 4 enemy tanks, and the ARL must know that he's just fired, in which case he also knows that, yes, and this means now that he's got, he's all alone and he's got his own view range. He has to spot them, the enemy himself, and I think he was having difficulty trying to see that V39 across the valley. But we also know now that the FE304 is just below him and spotting him for that V39. So this is not a wise move going out here. But he's going to try and get a shot on the V39, FE304 rather, who's now hiding behind that rock. And that means that he's going to have to go down and reset the cap. And that will allow the V39 to fire into him as he does so. Oh dear, now he's in a bit of a predicament. But he has to do it, he has to move. He can't stay here. He hasn't got the gun depression to hit the... Oh, he has just. Oh, he did get him. Only 3 hit points, but he managed to get him. But I think the enemy also knows now that it's very difficult for him to get shots on the enemy if they're in the cap without the V39 being able to shoot across at him from the other side of the valley. Ideally, the best thing he could do would be to get down into that cap circle himself whilst the enemy can't spot him, and then hide there and wait for the enemy RT and the V39 to turn up, and then he can deal with them at close range. But staying where he is at the moment, well, he can't really do that. Now he's not going to go down the most direct route. I think he's going to go down to the far end, come back up via the side. Let's hope he doesn't meet one of the RT on the way, because if he does get shotgunned, well, that could be fatal. Oh, what's he thinking of doing now? Well, there's the M44. He was over on this side, and I think that M44 is probably going to... Yes, that's what I was thinking he was going to do. One quick shot over the top, and he's going for 176, and now he's a one shot for everyone. All he can do is try and drive off that M44 if you can find him. There he is. And that's a Radley Walters. So now it's just an M44 and the V39 over on the other side of the battlefield. That's the other M44 trying to fire at him. Question is, has the V39 crossed the battlefield, and is he coming over to try and kill Atrium? The thing is, if he had crossed the way I expected him to, by going south and then crossing over to the other side and coming up the other side, he probably would have met that M44 coming the opposite direction. And one of the enemy is now capping. Now, what's the betting that that is going to be the V39? I think it's more than likely. We'll find out if it is. You can't see them. I think it is the V39, because the enemy M44 probably wouldn't have been able to get that shot in where he did without if he was in the cap area. So I think this is going to be fatal, this bit. Yeah, going down to the cap now with the V39 in there. The enemy Arty's going to have shots on him if it's the V39 as he approaches the V39. And of course the V39 is going to have shots on him as well. He's trying to skirt the cap without being seen. There he is. It is the V39. And he's round the corner from that rock. And although he's trying to escape, yep, that's what I was expecting. The enemy Arty got him instead. Oh dear. So it has ended up a loss. Let's have a look at the end of battle stats. Well, it's an ace tanker for Atrium in the KV-2. He got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 20. He got a duelist for taking out 2 tanks who damaged him, and a FIFO effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. He did get a Radley Walters Medal for getting 8 kills when he killed the M44. He also picked up a Pascucci's for killing the FV304 and the M44. And he also picked up a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, and a Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills. But sadly he did lose the game. Tactically, I think if he'd gone south and then come back up via the side in the valley, I think he would have had a better chance of killing the V39 and the M44, because the M44 wouldn't have been able to see him from the position he was in, and even if the V39 had seen him, he would have had a shot on that guy as well. So unfortunately it ends up a loss. Let's have a look at team scores. He did get the highest damage in the game with 3,027 hit points. Next highest scorer was Poodle with 1,722, and after that it was the M44 with 1,640, the one that survived. He managed to get the highest number of kills with 8, the next high scorers being the G2 with 3, and also the V39 with 3. And when it came to base XP, yes, he did get the highest amount. He got the top in all 3 columns, but he was on the losing team. 935 for Atrium, and then the next highest scorer was the Poodle with 861, and the Type 64 with 835. He fired 14 rounds, got 8 direct hits, 7 penetration, 1 splash. Damage of 3,027 hit points, of which 339 were up more than 300 meters. He received 14 hits from the enemy. 3 of them were penetrations, 8 non-penetrations, and 3 hits by way of splash damage. And of course those 3 penetrations came from the Poodle twice and the ARL-44. He also received 3 hits by way of splash damage from the M44, and of course that did actually take a lot of his hit points away. He blocked damage of 615 hit points, spotted 2 enemy vehicles, the Artys, damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 8 of the enemy, and did 225 hit points of damage assistance plus 13 defense points when he reset the cap. On a premium count, he earned 13,788 credits, got 3,153 for the Achievements Award. That's for getting an Epic or a Battle Hero medal in a losing or a drawn game, so his total was 50,912 credits. And after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, he took away a profit of 28,425 credits. He received 935 XP, got 511 again for the Achievements Award, and took away 2,169 altogether. So very sad that he ended up with a loss here. I think he could have turned it into a win, even after he'd lost all those hit points to the M44 up on the high area in the east side of the map. He could have turned it into a victory, but it was inevitable that if somebody was to act as bait, the other person would stay up above and shoot down at him as he made his way towards the cap. And so, yes, it was going to be a loss one way or the other. I suspect that the reason that the V39 decided to actually go down into the cap himself was that he wasn't capable of getting good penetrating shots on the KV-2 with his gun, his present gun, and therefore the M44 suggested you go down into the cap and I'll hit him with an Arty round the moment he tries to reset you. And yes, that seemed to work out very fine indeed. So bad luck. Next time I'm sure you'll get it right. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like and do subscribe to our channel, and stay home, stay safe, and derp coronavirus.